over a 10-year period. Let me, for a few minutes, talk about the risks associated with this project. I recognize that there is over $43 million, about 14%, and $77 million, about 30%, of contingency built into the budgets of Phase 1 and Phase 2 for capital costs. However, during the construction of the system, if there are cost overruns, and most construction projects do have cost overruns, or scope changes and/or delays, we have all agreed to pay up to 5% of additional cost, the first 5%. The first 5% is shared 50-50 between the state and the local funding partners. Any cost beyond the 5% threshold will be entirely borne by the local communities, including Seminole County. What this means is that each of the local communities would have to identify additional revenues from their budget to pay for these cost overruns, or these funds will come out of the department's work program for your region. The same scenario could unfold during the O&M phase in year 8 and beyond. During the O&M phase, if the ridership comes in below forecast and/or the operational costs are more than expected, the local communities will be responsible to make up the difference and fill in the deficits in year 8 and beyond. Again, what that means is each of the local communities would then have to identify additional revenue from their budget to pay for these cost overruns, or it will be funded out of the department's work program for your region. Additionally, as you may be aware, the interlocal agreement commits the Central Florida Commuter Rail Commission and the local communities to operate this system. There is no opt-out. So in the event the Commission decides to shut down the system, the local communities will then have to pay for any cost that is owed to the federal government. At this time, I'd like you to direct your attention to the chart titled Local Priorities for Seminole County. As I mentioned, in the event you cannot identify additional revenues and funding is then taken out of the department's work program for your region. The region's other transportation priorities suffer. Those transportation priorities include widening of State Road 15, that's US 1792, and widening of State Road 46 could be affected. This may result in reduction of scope, deferral of projects, and in some cases the project could be deleted. Again, to reiterate, should SunRail fail or if SunRail fail to meet or exceed revenue and ridership estimates, or should cost exceed expectations, other priorities and needs within your region could be affected. This would result in reduction of scope, again, deferral of projects, and in some cases, the projects could be deleted. I wanted to make sure that all local communities understand these tough choices. Having discussed the financial risks, let me talk to you about your commitment to transit-oriented development. Various private businesses and corporations have made commitments to Governor Scott on investing hundreds of millions of dollars in developing areas around the station and along the corridors. I got in my hand letters from these private businesses and owners, and the chart shows some of their commitments. Should Governor Scott decide to go forward with this project, we intend to hold local communities and these private businesses to their commitments. We just can't afford to do otherwise. When the state's asking to put up hundreds of billions of dollars towards a project, the local communities and these private businesses have to do their part. For this system to be successful, local communities have to follow through on transit-oriented developments. I recognize you've done this so far, but we need to make sure that we have continued focus going forward on future commissions on transit-oriented development. If this project gets a green light, it's very important that we continue to maintain that vision of transit-oriented development. I know Seminole County has been very supportive and active partner with local governments, station hosts to ensure SunRail's success along the corridor, amending the county's comprehensive plan to foster critical transit-oriented development principles. It's also my understanding that the city, along with officials, have partnered with private developer and is expected to be the first of the 17 SunRail station stops to have an actual transit-oriented development complex up and operational by the time SunRail starts service. That $25 million investment by Crown Realty, LLC, includes a 4-story building with residential, office, and retail that will serve